Hi, my name is Tommy Korn, and my topic is the effects of having a video game addiction. I chose this topic because I myself would call myself a video game addict as well, since I play here and there mostly every day. And also because many people believe that video games have only negative influences on my life. But I would like to tell you that it has both negative and positive effects on someone's brain. To start off with the background, video games have been out since around the 1970s, and that's quite some time. And so, to this century, video games have been expanding, and now video games are more accessible, since there's like free games online on the computer. You can always just play on your phone. And since video games can have both positive and negative effects, that means that depends on what video game that person chooses to play. And the effects are not always bad. Like, for example, video games can also help you solve problems faster, or with logic, or on the bad side, it can increase someone by having more violent thoughts. Since video games are always fun to play on your leisure time, it can be bad or very good for you. The reason why we're addicted to video games is because we like to have a mission accomplished already, or whether it's competitive with other people, meaning you want to be better than someone, you always want to be on the top. And the competitive side is always fun because there's always someone out there that might be better than you are. And according to CNN, from a psychologist at Iowa State University, roughly 8.5% of kids are addicted to video games in the US alone, while across the world it varies somewhat between the numbers 4% to 10%. And then the effects of having a video game addiction, it depends on what game. If the game was a pro-social game, this makes it more positive, as it helps kids communicate with each other more often and more nicely, and the kid will be willing to help another individual more frequently. As for the other hand, if the video game was violent, this will cause the kid to have more violent thoughts, as shown in this chart. This chart shows that as back then, the violent crime rates were higher, and video game revenue was low, meaning there wasn't that much video games. And since to this 2010, violent crime has dropped, but there's researches that show that there's still video games that do influence more violent crimes. And so, a positive effect of video game addiction is that it can help kids develop a well hand-eye coordination and fine motor skills and spatial skills. As in shooting games, you will be moving and having to aim to shoot. The kid will need to take into account that they are moving and need to aim to shoot. This will cause them to use the brain to interpret what is happening and use the reaction with their hands and fingertips. But on the other hand, this can cause this person to have increased more violent crimes. As for they are shooting another person, and in the game they only die, but nothing happens in the real world until they actually do it. So in conclusion, video games just do not have negative effects on someone's life or brain. They do also give benefits to people who are addicted to video games, or even just play games here and there. The only reason I chose this topic was because I just want people to understand that there are both good and bad effects of video games, whether you play pro-social games or more violent ones. That all just depends on what type of game that you play.